Sairam, everybody. Today is the 11th of June, 2023. Right. A very casual and a very, simple conversation on a Sunday. I thought let's have it today. This is all about what life is. And this is based on the excerpts of thousands of years of spiritual research by the rishis and yogis and sadhakas and of course the avadhutas. So what is the topic of today's discussion? Chintan Manthan, Manan. Manan is to internalize. It is about health, physical, mental, emotional, psychological, all different verticals of health, right? That we need to, how to follow, how to live. Most of the teachings from the ancient days have been very, very condensed. It will be just a statement. Like if we see the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, these are just shlokas. But it has the meanings and the depth of all the universal knowledge. So it is for us to decipher and understand. Right. Now we all know that Vedas were practiced as Shruti and Smriti. Recitation, memorizing, internalization, it was never written till such time that Sri Vedavyasa compiled all the shlokas of Vedas, divided into Aranyakas, Samhitas, Brahmanikas, and Upanishads. So amongst, after those main Vedas, came Upavedas, which are Artha Veda, Dhanur Veda, Gandharva Veda, and the Ayurveda. So we take a thread from Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, when the moment it comes, preconceived notions, well mapped, everything is clear. Ayurveda means you will see an Ayurvedic hospital or a doctor or an ancient rishi, preparing medicines or administering medicines in a very traditional way, this and that. Not necessarily. Ayurveda is also about life science and food habits and everything. How to live a life, a meaningful life, and how to maintain health, and basically the way a human being should live in his day-to-day existence. So there are very few assertions, not very huge, right? The teachings are basically very sankshipt, it will be always condensed, and what you get is only the summaries. Even Vedantas are nothing but don't take it literally, that end of Vedas, no. Veda Anta it means that summary of those Vedas. Excerpts, whatever are the takeaways. So basically a synopsis or a summary. So we call it in our corporate world as an executive summary. Likewise, the summarizing the whole thing was the Vedantas. And a Bhashya on Vedanta is the very well written was by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Now, when it comes to our life, how we should live our life is also summarized by the ancient rishis and sages just in about 21 or 24 odd assertions. That's about it. Nothing much. But each assertion or each statement that they have made, if we read or hear, if we decipher, and if we digest, and if we understand, if we process and understand, and finally live by it, Jnana Bhakti Karma, the assertions are the knowledge, the shlokas or the statements or the knowledge, processing and understanding is the bhakti, and living by it is karma, the fundamental, whatever you get in life, any knowledge, you will put into this process. So it gets into Jnana Bhakti Karma. Likewise, these 21, 22 odd assertions, I had written it down long ago. Long ago. So it was, I had met one Vaid, very great Vaidya, and also a great yogi. So in, I think it was in Rishikesh. Yes, it was in Rishikesh. He was very old then itself, and after that I lost touch. This was about 12, 15 years ago. And those assertions are also making rounds in the social media and things like that. That doesn't matter, but we have to take a cognizance of it. And this was something which I had actually written it down, right? So what are those assertions and what it means and how, what is the significance of it is something we will start. It's basically one statement and how it is going to affect. We decipher and understand. The first assertion or statement, this is not necessarily in chronological order, but mostly yes, but not strictly in the chronological order, right? The first statement of this, amongst these 22 odd statements is, Ajirnau Bhojanam Visham. What it means is, Ajirnau Bhojanam Visham. First thing they talk about is in your health, how to maintain your health, right? First thing that Ayurveda talks about, or the rishis have spoken about for the mankind. Ajirnau, indigestion. Indigestion is the most common cause of your health, ill health. Ill health. If the food that you have consumed is not digested, that is called Ajirna. So then the whole shloka is Ajirnau Bhojanam Visham. What it means is, if the food is not digested, and on that, if you consume additional food, let's say we live in this rat race that we have to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, 9:30 breakfast, 12:30 lunch, 6:30 snacking, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock dinner, whatever we have that discipline. But the question is, if the food that has been consumed previously is not digested, in addition to that, if you eat something, it is equivalent to poison. Ajirnam, bhojanam, visham. The food that you consume, when the food you have earlier consumed is not yet digested, is equivalent to poison in your body. Then it also means that if you have to consume food, it is not necessary that the process of excretion of the food that has been earlier consumed has got completed. But the hunger, the signaling of the hunger from your body says that the previously consumed food is digested. If you are not hungry, you are not going to eat. Bottom line. We have this habit of forcing, especially the children, eat, the child doesn't eat, force feed and this and that. It is nothing but you're feeding poison. What you're feeding to the child becomes a poison. When the hunger strikes, the child will demand for food. And forget, not just about the child, even we ourselves. We should consume food only when we are hungry, because the body signals and says the food that has been consumed is digested, and that energy which is derived from the food which has been consumed and digested is exhausted. Now the additional food is required. Body is the best instructor. Now, does that defy or challenge the disciplined food habits, timely food habits? Not necessarily so. Even that becomes a pattern. So the body gets food and it knows when to digest and how much of gap and what kind of passage of time that it requires. And then it gives out a signal that yes, now the additional food is required, with or without the excretion process. So first thing, stop feeding yourself when you are not hungry. Stop feeding the children when they're not hungry. Just by force feeding, you are actually turning the food that forcibly fed to the child when it is not hungry, turns into a poison. Right? So, Ajirnam, Bhojanam, Visham. First assertion. Second, Ardha Rogahari Nidram. Ardha Rogahari Nidram. If you get a good, sound, deep sleep, half of your diseases are cured by itself. Ardha, half. Rogahari, remover of roga, ill health, is sleep, nidram. Ardha Rogahari, nidram. Now, sound sleep is so essential for the body. First, you would have consumed food not out of the timely habit, and your stomach has given a signal to the brain that now the food is required and you will consume that food. Second, you have to get that minimum of 6 to 8 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep. Minimum of 6, ideally 6. When you sleep for 6 to 8 hours, but the quality of sleep has to be good. So when the quality of sleep is good, and if you have given the body that required a rest of 6 to 8 hours, half of the diseases goes on its own. We don't have to worry much. So what this particular shloka says is, Ardha Roga Harim Nidram. So These two shlokas are being discussed. Do you have every two shlokas, if you have any questions, I'll clarify and move forward because it tends to slip because there are short shlokas which are quite a lot in number.
Bhaiya.
Yeah.
Is this the first one, right? About the food. So, is this the reason in between fasting is suggested?
Your voice is not clear.
Fasting is suggested. Is it because of that?
Fasting is suggested, yes. Because the food that has been consumed and the energy, excess energy in terms of in form of fats, which are stored, is why it is said that you should fast so that the stored energy gets utilized. Fasting is also suggested for the same reason.
Bhaiya, one question from my side is, we being the yogis, Bhaiya, so the need of the sleep is slightly different from the normal population, Bhaiya. Does it apply to us as well?
Now, let us talk about just like a subject of interest. Yogi's way will be a little different, I agree, but let's just take it as a subject. Yes,
Okay.
it is quite different, but overall, you need to sleep. You should give the sleep, adequate amount of rest to the body. And when you talk about Nidra, this is for the general, non-practicing yogis or yoginis or avadhutas. For us, what happens is 1 minute of dhyana is equivalent to X amount of larger amount of sleep. The body adjusts itself. It is not necessary. I mean, it's not, what do you say, advocated for the yogis, but just for general public.
Got it, Bhaiya. Okay.
Right?
Bhaiya,
Ah.
how to overcome the habit of eating? Because, our moms have, and even their moms would have, throughout generations, we've been eating like breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. So the body has become accustomed to, or let's say habitual of eating at regular intervals, with or without actually feeling that hunger that you're talking about. So how to break that habit, and how to overcome that habit of continuously eating? We are also doing the same for our children now. It's time for breakfast, it's time for lunch, it's time for snacks, it's time for dinner.
Or those patterns are more so evolved for the, discipline rather than the bodily requirements. Discipline,
Right.
you have to eat so much at this time so that, otherwise you'll not miss your school. And then before school, you have to eat this and lunch and such a time and so on and so forth. Well, you have to break the pattern. The whole purpose is to break the pattern which we are used to. So how to break the pattern? Just go on a fast for a day or few hours. Then when the hunger will start triggering, just shift your pattern to a consumption food which is based on hunger.
Okay. And that's a good idea. And how to resist the, what do you call, those eating,
Temptations.
yeah, the temptations, the pangs that we get at, looking at a particular dish, or thinking, even thinking about a particular dish. We start feeling a craving for it, or, just indulging in it for some time, though we may or may not have the requirement. But, just looking at it, the mouth starts watering. What do we do then?
Well, that is temptation. You have to.
Yeah, temptation. Yeah.
That is a problem, whether we are hungry or not. We see something which we like, the taste buds. As we go forward, even that has been explained. But yes, that is a problem. You should overcome it. So basically, it is a pattern of a rightful way of eating.
Okay.
Bhaiya, again, I have again. I'm sorry, Bhaiya. I'm just disrupting the flow. But thing is, with yogic perspective, I'm totally talking from yogic perspective, Bhaiya. Again, here you're talking about taste and what the Diljit was also asking that they associate this with sacral chakra, no, Bhaiya. The thing is, once you get the control or gain mastery over the lower chakras, do you think we can get over the taste also?
Which is sacral chakra?
Oh, Swadhisthana, Bhaiya.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds better. Right. The mastery on taste and temptations is just at like it's not about the sacral chakra alone, but it is about the overall personality. That will start fading away once you start adhering to the order which has been prescribed in this. And also for yogis, you grow above and beyond. That's why they say, no, in Ashtanga Yoga, we talk about pratyahara, abstinence. Abstinence is not from a particular type of food or kind of food. Abstinence, in our interpretation, is the growth, or you evolve above and beyond the temptations of food, a particular food that you like. So the addiction to a kind of food. So that is what pratyahara is all about. So we have to, as yogis, we will grow above that. No doubts about it.
Because that is what is happening by even with Muladhara, they talk about the smell, no, Bhaiya. So when you're talking about appetite, olfactory nerves, which is organ related to smell, is related to that. But the thing is, again, purely from what we're reading, Satcharita, Baba was totally away, totally, he doesn't have a sense of taste or smell because he's totally aware of that. So I'm just getting, because I'm talking about totally from yogic perspective. I know you're talking about general population, Bhaiya, but I just want you to, if it's not too much of an hassle, if you can just talk to us from our perspective also, Bhaiya.
Okay.
From yogic perspective as well.
From yogic perspective. Okay. If if I have to speak on the terms of yogic perspective, this subject, most of them, half of the assertions are not relevant to us. As we go forward, it is also spoken about the pulses, which pulse is good, which is not good, and all those things. So, well, yogic perspective is also that you have to eat the right food. Even a yogi has to consume the food when he is hungry only. And then a yogi has to give adequate amount of rest to the body, either through dhyana or by sleep. Nidra is not necessarily sleep. In a yogic perspective, Nidra is also a dhyana. There is a technique called Yoga Nidra. Right? Yoga Nidra is to be in a meditative state and go to sleep. Go to sleep in a meditative state. A yogic interpretation.
Okay, Bhaiya, thank you.
Then the next assertion is, I think, Mudradali Gadavyali. What it means is, this is very specific to pulses, it says. This is Ayurveda, as I said, where some of you may not find it interesting right now, but hang in. As we go further, it is very, very interesting. It says, of all the pulses, green grams are the best. These are the excerpts from the Ayurvedic books and rishis. Green grams are the best because here the body is first, when the indigested food is still there, what you consume becomes a poison, so avoid that. Ensure that the food you consume is digested, and you feel hungry, then you consume extra additional food. Then your second assertion is to put the body to rest for a while, either by yoga sadhana, dhyana, or by just going to sleep for general people who are not practitioners of yoga, which is Ardha Roga Hari in Nidram. The third one is how to ensure that your immune system is well boosted. Mudradali Gadavyali. It means that of all the pulses, green grams are the best because it boosts immunity. Immune system is very essential for the body. Without adequate amount of immune system, you are susceptible for infections. So it is well explained that pulses, and of all the pulses, the green grams are the best. Rest of the pulses, it says that have good qualities, but they have some or the other side effect. But green grams is the best of all the pulses. So you should consume green grams, is what it is said. Now, what Diljit ji just said is the next shloka. It says that Ati Sarvatra Varjayet. Anything consumed in excess is very bad for health. Anything which is consumed in excess because it tastes good. You eat something, let's say you consume a bowl of halwa. So bahut acha lag raha hai, it's very yummy. You have a pastry. So it's very tasty, you love it, so you keep eating in addition. So whatever you consume in excess is very bad for health. It means a particular dish. People say that I will stick to only this, I'll keep eating only that. That's what it means here. Anything, just because it tastes good to you, you can't keep eating only that in excess. It should be avoided. It should be consumed moderately. You should enjoy, relish what you consume. You cannot just go in excess just because it tastes good. It is prohibited. Right? I think we will add some more before I take the questions. It says, Nasti Moola Manaushadham. The next shloka is Nasti Moola Manaushadham. What it means to say is, there is no vegetable in this world that has no medicinal benefit to the body. Every vegetable has one or the other medicinal value and benefit for the body. Nasti Moola Manaushadham. Everything, every vegetable is not just, it gives you, nutrients, it gives you health, but not just that. It also has, every vegetable has a medicinal benefit for the body. So whatever we are, possibly we are talking about, people who only stick to the pulses or meat or, rice or whatever, just rice and dal or whatever. But you should always add some vegetables in your staple food, because every single vegetable has a medicinal benefit for the body. Right? Nasti Moola Manaushadham. Right? The next statement, the seventh one, it is for the Vaidyas and how to understand a Vaidya or the doctor. Now, Vaidhyam Prabhurayusham. What it means is Navaidhyam Prabhurayusham. What it means is no doctor is capable of giving you a longevity. every doctor, every Vaidya also has his limitations. So what it goes on to say is that not just the doctor, don't fall sick. Even a doctor has his limitations. He cannot keep you alive forever. He can only postpone your eventuality. Hence, you have to look after yourself. Eventual exit from the body is certain, but a doctor, by treating you, can only enhance your lifespan or quality of the lifespan that you have. But even every doctor also has limitations. You cannot throw all the burden on a doctor. You cannot abuse your body and go to a doctor and tell him that please cure me of my condition. Please take care of my health. Ensure that I live longer. It is not possible. The primary responsibility is ours to ensure that our body is in a healthy condition. That's why it says, Navaidhyam Prabhurayusham. He cannot give you a long life. He has his own limitations. He can only take care of that moment. But you should take care of yourself, more important. Falling ill or sick is not an option. Next, another assertion I will say, and then I will take the questions. All of you, if you have the questions on each assertion, just make a note. This is the most important assertion. It says, Chinta Vyadi Prakashaya. Chinta Vyadhi Prakashaya. Stress is the cause of your illness. Stress is the root cause of all your illness. It will, if you are already suffering from any kind of ill health, it will enhance that condition. So stress is the cause of illness and also the cause of aggravating the existing illness. These are all very simple assertions, but if you just dwell on it, dive deep into it, you will get all the answers. Cause of acidity, one of the main causes, stress. Stress-induced diabetes, stress-induced hypertension, stress-induced cardiac condition. Now, stress-induced cardiac condition, blocking of the arteries, possibility of a heart stroke, heart attack, cardiac arrest, stress-induced hypertension, it has major hypertension is due to stress, and that hypertension has so many other consequences. Renal failure, hemorrhages, uncontrolled blood pressure gives rise to so many ill health. Stress-induced diabetes, renal failure, failure of vision, your immune system, eventually multiple organ failure. Diabetes also causes blindness. So there are so many further complications. Main thing is, first cause of all of these is stress. Besides the genetic causes, here the emphasis is more given on stress-induced health conditions. So it's very clearly stated. We have to ensure that our stress is under control. Chinta vyadhi prakashayam. The more you do take stress, more you will fall sick. If you already have a health condition with stress, it only enhances and it only worsens your ill health. So you have to make sure that the stress is warded off. How do we do it? The whole world tells you. Exercise is a stress buster. Counseling is a stress buster. Some other activities which divert your attention from your stress is a stress buster. Of all the things, the most important thing or the most effective thing is meditation. Meditation is a stress buster. Once the stress is gone, your condition improves. Once you get into a meditative state, your stress is gone. It is all intertwined. So once the stress is gone, your condition improves. Your existing condition improves. New adverse conditions won't develop in your body. So everything revolves around that word called the stress. Chinta. चिंता और चिता एक मात्र की जरूरी अंतर है बस. Stress is the biggest killer, and how to ward off stress is just something which we just spoke about, right? Now I shall stop before going forward. Any questions?
Yes, Bhaiya, I have a question.
Anji.
Bhaiya, these days everything is adulterated. You know, whether you talk about vegetables, you talk about food grains, you talk about any of the food items. You know, in fact, there are vegetables with which we are hearing that there are certain kind of worms and all that come into the brain and, you know, that cause brain hemorrhage and all that. So in such conditions, you know, what is the yogic way, you know, maybe through energy healing or something with which we can improve the quality of food before we eat?
See, this particular conversation is strictly, restricted to the general talk, but I will add here, when it comes to yogic orders, your entire life is governed by the energies, the chaitanyas. What is not good for you will not go into you in terms of food also. Every single thing of your life, every moment of your life is governed by the Chaitanya of the Guru or the Chaitanya of Mother Kundalini. You won't realize the importance and significance of initiation. Just initiation is enough. The mother will ensure that nothing wrong will get into you. The whole system of yogic sadhana, yoga sadhana, based on the Kundalini yoga sadhana, that is dependent on Mother Kundalini. Upon initiation, a mother is a Jagrata Kundalini. What is not right for you will not come to you. What is not good for you will not get into you. Even if it does, it will not adversely affect you. That is how the Chaitanya of Mother Kundalini works in us. Doesn't mean that we have to be careless. Doesn't mean that we have to be indulgent. We have to exercise our caution. However, don't worry, don't fear. And also the Ashtaganas, that we will talk separately. So whatever, to the best of our abilities, you have to make sure that we are cautious. And coming to the practical aspect of it, particularly vegetables and other things, Indian style of cooking is hardly, there's any scope for anything to be left the cooking itself destroys everything which is adverse. But some of the vegetables and other things, that's why it is always advised to wash it in salt water. People say that, okay, salt water, okay, maybe because of that, saltiness in the water, it kills the germs. No, not just that it does, but also the best thing is the salt water is the one which absorbs salt. Food soaking, we all know, we have done.
Yeah.
2/3 of the world is water. Out of that, 80% is salt water. Why? Is because it absorbs the negativities. So before, particularly if you are eating anything raw, which has got a skin on it, so whatever your vegetables or whatever you consume, raw or whatever, just blanch it, just wash it with salt water. That's what is advised. A bowl of water, pinch of salt, a spoon of salt, mix it, just dip it and wash it. And then wash it with fresh water if you want, and then consume. It helps.
Okay, Maya. Thank you very much.
Okay. Right. Anyone else? Yes, Nehaji.
Sairam Bhaiya.
Sairam.
Bhaiya, I wanted to ask, are we going to talk about fasting in this session?
Let me see. That assertions, if it is there, otherwise we will talk about it.
Okay, Bhaiya, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Shall we go forward? Right. So, stress, who else? Nehaji, acha. So, next.
Sorry, Bhaiya, I'm just.
Hanji.
Sorry, Bhaiya, I was just lowering my.
No problem. The next is a very important thing. Very, very, very important. All of them are, but the next thing is extremely important for us to understand. Vyayamascha shanau shanau. Vyayamascha shanau shanau. See, the rishis are so caring and concerned that the smallest of things, what you should eat, how you should eat, how you should sleep, what is the level of love and care and concern they have for us is, I don't know, I wonder. So in this shloka, Vyayamascha shanau shanau, what it means is, whatever the exercise that you do, it has to be slow. Today's fad, HIIT, high intensity HIIT is high intensity interval training, whatever, right? Cardio, run. Are we all not aware that so many people are dying on the treadmill? Don't we know that how many people are dying in the gyms of late? Isn't it? It is unnatural. Don't stress your body. Whatever you do, Vyayamascha shanau shanau. Slowly, slowly. You want to walk on the treadmill? Do. I'm not talking about against the treadmill. But when you have to do that, you walk slowly, maybe about 5 kilometers an hour speed or 6 kilometers an hour speed. People run at 10 kilometers an hour speed without knowing the body condition. What is within, we don't know. Are we hypertensive? We don't know. What is the kind of, is there any block in our arteries? We don't know. How many people are dying on the treadmills? How many people are dying at the gym? So many celebrities have died at the gyms. Why? Unscientific. Pushing weights. Weights, do it. Take the weight which is good. Oh, keep pumping metal, keep adding extra weights and keep doing workouts and do so much that you will collapse. Why? Do your vyayama. Do for a long period of time. Instead of 30 minutes, do for 60 minutes. Instead of 60 minutes, you do for 90 minutes. Doesn't matter. Do slowly. Repetitions are more important. How much ever you can endure, carry only so much of weights when you are doing your workouts. Most important thing is in Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Pratyahara, Pranayama, Asana. So when it comes to Yogasana, have you seen any Yogasana done in a swift way? One Yogasana that we talk about, is it done in a very rapid speed? Ancient. Maharshi Patanjali has written the Yoga and Yogasanas. I mean, asanas is a part of the Ashtanga Yoga, one of the limbs of 8 limbs yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Has anybody spoken like that? Have you ever heard about any yogi as a Yogasana practitioner, performing the Yogasana and has died during Yogasana? No. Because that is scientific. The whole of the Western world is flipping towards yoga. And here in our country, we have this fad of going to the gym and working. Nothing wrong. Please do. Do it moderately. Shanau, shanau. Do it moderately. Do it slowly. Very comfortably. Do it. Don't push yourself. Because when you are pushing yourself, you are going against the body constitution. That's all it says. Very simple. Don't be stupid. Vyayamascha shanau shanau. Right? Speedy exercises or running and cardios are very dangerous for the body. Right? Then I'll recite one more shloka and then we will take the question. The next one is Ajavatam Charvanam Kuryata. Ajavanam Charvanam Kuryata. What it means is, chew your food. Kuryata is a goat. Chew your food like a goat. We have seen the sheep and goat. The moment, nowadays, you know how we all eat food. You just grab something, swallow it. Straight. The whole body is a chemical factory. When you eat something, when you put something in your mouth, first thing, the work of your denture, your teeth, everything is only to chew. It says that chew properly. Chew like a goat. You see the goat, it's always jaws are moving. Chew your food properly. It mixes with the saliva. Then it is consumed. Then it is easily digested. That is a scientific way of eating. In our childhood also, parents would have said that, hey, eat slowly, chew properly and then eat. But parents themselves will gobble. Especially when we wake up, oh, it's getting late. Come on, you gobble something, eat something, just swallow something and run. It is of no consequence. You're harming the body. The reason why the denture is there to grind the food, mix with saliva, it processes. It is a chemistry which is happening in your mouth. Then you consume, then the digestion is proper. Don't be in a hurry. Don't just swallow food. Saliva is the one which aids all the digestive processes. Never swallow food in a hurry. Just swallowing food. It is actually turns into a poison in your body. Digestion becomes slow. you have indigestion issue because you swallow the food. So the next thing, it's also from the digestion, food, the kind of food and everything. Then it comes to the hygiene also. It says that snanaha, namaha, manah prasadhana, manah prasadhana karaha, duswastya vidvansaha. What it means is, it's very simple. The importance of having bath. You have to have bath. You have to bathe. We all think that taking a bath is only for the personal hygiene. No. Bathing in Shastras is not just the body wash, it's the hair, top to toe. Abhyanjana means abhya anjana. From here, top to toe. You must have bath every day. Besides the personal hygiene, the cleanliness that we talk about, bathing removes depression. What it says is bathing takes out depression. If somebody is in depression, bathing takes out depression. Bathing takes out the bad dreams and nightmares also. I don't know how many of us are aware. In the ancient days, the practice was such that people used to wake up in the morning. Women used to bathe in the morning, then cook and do all the necessity chores. And men used to go to the fields, come back in the evening and bathe and go to sleep. Trikala Sandhya, 3 times of Sandhya Vandana, 3 times a day. Before Trikala Sandhya, people used to take a shower. Because when you take a bath, bathing is very essential. It's a must every day. I have no doubts about it because that keeps a mental balance. Depression goes. Your 60-70% of your body is water. You're connecting with that Jala Tattva. You have to bathe. And then after bathing, once you bathe, your depression, if you are, that vanishes. And nightmares won't come. Bad dreams will be restricted. You will sleep fine. All your hormones are balanced. Your cortisol levels just drops. Your cortisol levels, the moment it drops, you are at peace. Your anxiety is gone. Then you sleep, you get a very sound sleep. Reason why it has been advocated that bathing is so essential. Snanam, nama, manam, prasadhanakaram, duswapna, vidvansanam. It means bathing will remove depression and it also takes out bad dreams. Right? These are all some things that are very simple. I'm sure everything is very simple and we would have heard our forefathers and our parents and grandparents would have stated all these things. But it's like this session is possibly, I would say, that between knowing and realizing the importance. We know all these things and we are realizing. Knowledge to realization, that is the transition. Next is again about bathing only. Na snanamacharet bhuktva. What it means is, I'm sure all of us know about it, soon after having a shower, soon after consuming food, do not take bath. Take bath and then consume your food. Not a problem. But soon after having your food, don't take bath. You will fall sick for sure, because it takes your digestive system to a toss. So always, this is something which I'm sure is a very common thing. We should have bath, have food, and then go to sleep, not the other way around. Not having food and then taking a bath, that can be very dangerous for our health. Never do that mistake. Next is Nasti Medasamam Toyam. What it means is Medha Sama is rainwater. No water matches the purity of rainwater in the ancient days. Now, of course, this is the air itself is polluted. Once there is a rainwater, all the toxins in the air falls down. But these are ancient days. What it says is that there is no water which is purer than the rainwater. They used to keep the containers on the top of the roof of the house or below or anywhere and collect the rainwater. And it used to be brass containers. I mean, copper or brass or whatever, little copper containers, I think. So they used to consume the rain, conserve the rainwaters and consume that, because there was no better water, no water which was as pure as rainwater. The cooking, to drinking and everything, they used to have the rainwater. Right. Next is, so if you want me to,
Bhaiya, again a question.
One second. Nasti Medasamaha Toyam means no water matches the purity of the rainwater. Yes, Harmeet.
So Bhaiya, now it's the time when acid rains is what we are talking about.
Yes.
So, and in fact, they tell you don't even take bath in this kind of rainwater. Earlier as kids, we used to be out in the rain most of the time. But today they tell you don't go out in this acid rain. So now what?
Don't. Don't go in this. Today's, acid rains and other things. And, because the atmosphere is so badly polluted. So they say that first rain, you should let go. Next rain is safer. First rain is always, it brings down the, toxins in the air, aerosols, which carry all these toxins. That is cleansed. And then, but still, that's why Himalayas, चलिए हम हिमालय चले जाते हैं वहां पे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है आप सीधा ये बारिश की पानी पी लो या बारिश में भीग लो कुछ नहीं होगा
और चेरापूंजी भैया
हाँ चिरापुंजी always raining there is yes we have made a mess of the world amount of carbon monoxide in the air it's bad but this is written thousands of years ago right
तो भैया फिर इसकी फिर वैलिडिटी तो नहीं रही इस चीज की
this particular
point.
No, it is still valid if you go towards the Himalayas or the purest of places. If you go to New Zealand, or you're very close to where you are right now, there it is absolutely beautiful. New Zealand is the only country where you can go and sleep in the middle of the jungle, at night, because there are no serpents in New Zealand. Not a single snake in the whole country of New Zealand. No wild animals. Nothing. Only kiwi. So there are places on earth even now, despite all these things, where there is no pollution, air pollution. There, yes, this still holds good. In your own country. Right.
Yeah. Bhaiya, just you mentioned that top to toe bathing, especially for women's, every day washing head is not possible. So what to do?
I would prefer to reserve the comments on that. Please excuse me. But bathing means to toe.
Yes, Bhaiya. But in Bangalore water, you know, right? Hair will go off.
गंजा हो जाएगा.
भैया यहाँ बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी.
But you know what? Despite all the modernization, despite all these things, if you go to Kerala,
Yeah.
all the people, Kerala is known for personal hygiene. They take baths compulsorily in the evening. And they apply some hair oil soon after bath, and they leave it dry. Anybody, is Jyoti there?
Yeah.
Isn't it? In Kerala,
Yeah.
they do it even today, right?
Yeah.
Everybody takes bath at night, right?
Twice a day, more than
Twice a day, right?
Yeah.
It is
Sometimes twice a day, Bhaiya.
yes.
Head bath
Bhaiya,
also.
we also
Twice.
take Satyam
Sometimes
twice.
if it is too hot, thrice also. So our water is very good.
Yeah.
Water is
No,
excellent.
Kerala is
the
even
hair on
today is very less on pollution. Huh? It's very
Yes.
green, much cleaner than many of the countries. I mean, cities of our country, Himalayas and Kerala, Mangalore. No, the entire coastal belt. They take but twice, thrice a day, and when it means bath means to toe, and they apply oil. They tie the hair and leave it. Men, women, everybody. And Keralites are known to have thick hair. Very thick, dense hair. So you can ask Jyoti how. Durga ji or Jyoti. Yes, Jyoti, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, the thing is, one thing which you have mentioned is don't take bath after meal. This is something I read somewhere. In earlier days, people used to take bath in pond. After a heavy meal, you get into a pond, there is a chance that you might sleep with a heavy food.
Can you repeat?
In olden days, people used to take bath in the pond. So after
Olden days, people used to take bath in the pond.
Yeah. So after heavy meal, they get into the pond. When it gets cold on the spine, they might feel sleepy. That was the
Not
reason.
here. It's not clear, Jyoti.
When people used to have a heavy meal and then get into the pond, they will feel sleepy.
No,
That
it
is
is
the-
not advisable. This Ayurveda also says very clearly, after consuming food, you should not. It is unscientific. Even if they are doing it, it's wrong. After meal, you are not supposed to get into the water, because just what happens when you get into the water, the food, water brings up, no? When the digestion, dhatus are just getting absorbed, you are going against it. You should not neither take bath nor be in the pond.
Okay.
Right?
Bhaiya, there is a scientific reason, Bhaiya, because any time after food, there's a lot of circulation. You need a lot of blood flow to the stomach
Correct.
for the digestion to take place, and it also causes decreases in body temperature because of that, right? If you causing, you will take shower again. Yet that the heat of the body again, the circulation will go there, so the vital organs may be deprived of the blood and the oxygen. It's detrimental for health.
Yeah, it should never be done.
And ideally, they say at least 45 minutes to 1 hour by after eating food, if you want to take shower.
Yeah, but I not advise before dinner. You have to take a shower.
Yeah, best
That-
to avoid. But
is
if
the
you want
best
to, if
thing.
somebody is insistent, they want to have a shower, at least wait for minimum of 1 hour.
1 hour. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, even I've read the same thing what Dr. Anand is saying.
Right. So moving forward, Ajirno Bheshajam Vari. It means when the Ajirno is indigestion. When there is indigestion, just a plain water is a medicine. We feel that, when we have this constipation is different. When there is indigestion, solidified food is not digested. And you have to ensure that the food that has been consumed has to break. And the best way to do is just consuming water. When you consume water, what happens? The food becomes a little subtle. It becomes soggy. It is easy to digest. The only way, the best medicine for indigestion is water. It can be lukewarm water. It can be hot water. It says that for Ajirna, the best medicine is plain water. Drinking plain water takes care of your indigestion problem. Right?
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
So maybe that was the reason why as kids, mothers used to give gripe water. And later on, we used to have ENO or something in water again.
Always water is a main thing. The rest, everything is an add-on. So,
Ajwain water.
Ajwain water. Hot water takes care of everything. However, it is also some urologists say that once you drink hot water, whatever you drink after it gets into the food pipe, temperature is always controlled. I mean, it becomes a normal body temperature. So they say that just room temperature water is good enough. It will take care of your indigestion. Water is a best medicine for many things and even Ajirna. Right?
Yeah.
Next shloka, hardly any, another 5, 7 or 8, I don't know, I'll just, yeah. So, Sarvatra Nutanam Shastram, Sevakatre Puratane. So, what always prefer things that are fresh. Today's world, we refrigerate everything, freeze everything. It is not advised. What is fresh has to be consumed. But also it says, because most of the people in India, today we are wheat eating and whatever, wheat is not of this country. Wheat is not from India. It came much later. But whereas it also, the same shloka also speaks about, whereas the rice and a servant of the house are good only when they are old. It's, just a comparison that this shloka gives. Sarvatra Nutanam Shastam. Sevakatre Puratane. Means that the servant of the house and the rice in the house, most of us were rice eating. Even today, most of the people, half or 3/4 or more than that of India eats only rice. The entire of Northeast, entire of South, entire of East, everybody eats rice. Wheat starts more so from Punjab, Delhi, Punjab, and part of Uttar Pradesh. Yeah, even Rajasthan half, southern Gujarat and all those things are more so rice eating. So below, entire of South and East and Northeast is rice. So earlier days, Anna Brahma, rice was called as even Anna Brahma. Anna means rice. the cooked rice. So rice and servants are good only when they're old. But rest of the things, the best thing is to have something which is fresh, not preserved. Right? Pulses and rice and all those things can be preserved. But vegetables, milk, and all those things, best is to have something which is fresh. Right? So the next shloka is again very, very, important. Nityam sarvarasam bhakshyam. Nityam, every day. Sarvarasam, there are 6 ashtarasam. Right? Bhakshyam, you have to consume. What are those 6 rasa? As in, there are Navarasa is about expression. About food, there are 6 rasa, which is salt, sweet, bitter, sour, and pungent, and astringent. These are the part of the food that you must consume. The salt, the sweet, the bitter, the sour, astringent, and pungent. So these, like, a piece of sweet, a little bit of salt in your food that you cook, little bit of bitterness, sour, astringent, and pungent. All the 6 are necessary for the body. You cannot miss any one of these.
Bhaiya, can you please give some examples of pungent and astringent food
Fermented,
items? Okay.
fermented, like chas aap peete ho, the buttermilk,
Yeah.
the yogurt, curd,
Yeah.
that is astringent and pungent. Whichever is fermented. Bitter gourd, bitter, sour, imli, that, we use. It is all should be part of the cooking. Sweet, salt, spice, astringent, the spices. Hing jo kehte na, that's something which is a, I have a pronunciation problem with that. Acetophaid. Acetophaid, whatever. Yeah. Those are a must, because these will take care of so many of your health. Food is a medicine also. Right? So these 6 things are a must in your cooking. Yes. Somebody. So the next shloka, shall we move on?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Jataram, Purna Yodhar Dharam Athauram Bhagam Jalenacha Vayum Swanchanarthaya Chatartham Shoshayet. Sorry, Chatarvatar Shoshayet. I will share this shlokas. I made a document, so the important is about the excerpt and the meaning more than the shlokas. Right? What this shloka means essentially is that what you consume, let us say you're hungry, half of what you fill your stomach with has to be with solids. The vegetables, the rice, the rotis, or whatever, the food that you eat, half of it has to be solid. 1/4 has to be water, and rest leave it empty. Don't eat till your stomach is full. ये सब हमको सिखाया गया है. We are aware of all these things, just that we don't practice. So half the food that you eat when you're hungry, you just bifurcate. Half you eat solids and 25% you eat liquids, not just water or any watery things that you consume. And another 25% leave it empty. पेट भर के खाना नहीं है. To live healthy and long. That's what it means. Right? The next shloka is Bhukta Shatayatham Gacheda Yadicheta Chirajivitam. What it means is never ever sit idle after you consume food. And it clearly says after having your food, you have to walk for half an hour. 30 minutes of walk, or, my father used to say, he was a doctor himself, some X amount of steps after 1,000 steps, they say, or 2,000 steps. Doc, after dinner, they say 1,000 steps, is it?
Overall steps, Bhaiya, not after dinner, not specific dinner, Bhaiya.
No, here it says that after dinner, you have to take a stroll, a slow walk for about half an hour. Stroll. Don't sit quiet. Stroll. It starts your digestion immediately. It avoids your indigestion. Not immediately, not a jog, not a run, a stroll. Don't sit quiet. It's not that you go out for a walk. Ghar pe hi, even at home. They say about 1,000 steps after dinner.
Bhaiya, I think that's too high, Bhaiya. I think maybe 100 or 200, Bhaiya, not
maybe 100 steps.
Bhaiya, actually it is after lunch, sit a while, and after dinner, walk a mile. That is the old proverb.
Okay.
Yeah, even I heard that.
After the last meal of the day, you have to take a stroll, at least for a few minutes, maybe 100 steps, 200, 500 or whatever. It triggers the digestive system. It triggers the metabolism, because as we start growing older, metabolism keeps dropping. So it is strongly advised that after having your dinner, you have to take a stroll. Never sit idle.
Is it also because sun has set?
Sorry?
Sun has set by that time. Is that the reason stroll is advised after dinner? Because till that time sun is there, right?
I do not think so. It is basically the dinner has to be had before sunset or at sunset. That's what is advised. But after the dinner, you have to walk a little. Right? We have, I think, 3 or more assertions. We'll complete it and then I'll we will discuss and deliberate. Right? The next is Shrutsya Dhutaha Janayati, sorry. Kshutva Dhutam Janayati. What it means is hunger increases the taste of food. When you're hungry and then have food, the taste is better. You will relish it more. Hunger increases the taste of the food. In other words, eat only when you're hungry, not just because you're tempted to eat something or you like to eat something. So hunger increases the taste of food. And you will eat only when you're hungry. Right? The next one is Chintajara Nama Manushyanam. Very simple. If you think too much, you will age fast. We all know. Aajkal to primitive gray hair. You start looking old very young because of too much of thoughts, too much of thinking, too much of stress. So it only goes on to say that don't think too much, don't stress yourself too much. Chinta jara nama manushana. You will start looking very old. You will start not looking. You start actually aging faster. You might be 40 years or 50 years old, but you would have aged up to 60 or 70. Your body has aged. It may not appear or it may appear. That doesn't matter. But the body has aged faster. Some people who are less stressed, who don't think too much, don't get stressed too much, their body, they say that actual from the date of birth to what we are is one. But they say that how much have you aged? There is a calculation. How aged is your body? That BMI index and other things will tell you. So that enhances, you start aging very fast if you think too much, if you stress yourself too much. So you don't stress yourself too much. Last assertion, or last but one, another two assertion. It says that Shatam Vihaya Bhoktayam Sahasra Snama Charet. What it means is, when it is time for food, keep even 1,000 jobs aside. When you are hungry and when you have to eat food, even if there are 1,000 jobs which is on your head, keep it aside. Consume your food. But without food, without energy in your body, what will you work? How will you work? Your mind won't work. Nothing will work. You get irritated. Empty stomach is really going to give you a lot of irritation. That is a known fact. So we have to give importance to the food. Food is the source of energy. Energy is the source of your existence. Your existence is based on the energy. Your performance, your work, everything based on the energy which comes from the food. So even if you have thousands of works which are pending, when it is time for food, and when it is time for food is when you're hungry, keep all of them aside, sit peacefully, and as prescribed in the Shastras thus far, consume your food. Do not worry. Nothing will happen. Give importance to the time for food. Right? Then the last assertion. Sarva dharmeshu madhyamam. Here comes the yoga. Sarva dharmeshu madhyamam means always choose the middle path. Don't go on to the extremes. Do not eat too much. Do not eat less. Do not eat a particular kind of food. Only balance your food. Those 6 rasas, shadrasas. Shadrasas are that salt, whatever the 6 things which I mentioned, has to have a perfect balance. Be balanced. Ida, pingada, sushumna. Don't get into tamas. Don't get into extreme sattvic. Have a perfect balance of everything in your food. Shadrasas have to be there. Quantity has to be perfect. You have to fill only 75% of your stomach, not 100%. Out of that 75%, 50% should be hard food. 25% has to be liquids. It does not mean water, liquids. Everything has to be balanced. Don't eat something which is stale. The rice has to be old, but the vegetables have to be fresh. Whatever you consume, you have to be at peace. Do not think too much. Give importance to food. All these things, all the 21 assertions essentially spoke about the way, and finally says when you follow that, you are in the central path. You maintain a perfect body. You maintain a perfect health of your body and your mind. Bathing to every single thing is summarized in these 22 assertions. Right? So the final assertion, which it says is Sarva dharmashu madhyamam. Everything has to be balanced. Walk on the middle path. Avoid going to extremities in anything. These are the words of sages. What happens? We feel such simple thing, yeah, we have heard about it. But intellectual and mental evolution of a Homo sapien, today it is so easy because it's available, and rishis and the sages and yogis from the ancient days have done all these research and given to us. So it is easy, but imagine what they would have gone through and how much of practices they have observed all these things. Importance of bathing, importance of bathing on your psychology. If somebody is in a depressed state, they go for, they are advised to have bath, and post bath, how is their depression gone or reduced or subdued? Are they cheerful? Are they out of depression? And if some people are continuously talking about, bad dreams and nightmares, they are advised to have bath at night. Then they go to sleep, and then they are tested. Are you okay? How was the quality of your sleep? So much of thinking has gone. Today it is easy. Today it is served to us on a platter. But imagine what amount of sadhana that they have done. What amount of research, study that these rishis and yogis have done. Today it is so easily said. But these are the 22 golden principles of how to maintain our health, how to maintain a healthy body. What are all the secrets? So this concludes this conversation. So if anybody further has any questions, comments to offer, please do so.
But yeah, if we go according to all these, I think we'll have to throw half the gadgets in our kitchen out actually. The gadgets like the microwave.
True, no?
So many things.
Navita ji,
yes,
it right? What is written here is true, right?
Yes, yeah, that is true. But like I suppose, especially people who are working, like both the husband and wife are working. So I know these are not the right gadgets, but then they are very convenient. So people are normally opt for convenience these days.
And we also know the after effects of it.
Yes, that is true. But I mean, it's like when एक side से कुआं, एक side से खाई type, no.
कुआं भी है, खाई भी है, लेकिन हम तो बीच में we walk on the ridge.
Right. Yes. Like I heard the pressure cooker also, it destroys 97% of the nutrients. I don't know, 97% or something.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is true. But what to do? It is being told. I mean, this is how it has to be. But people are going back to the roots, no? Why this organic food is picked up so much? Fresh vegetables has picked up so much. Even in my childhood, I'll tell you, Navita ji, we did not have microwaves.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
हम लोगों के घर पे माइक्रोवेव नहीं हुआ करता था. रोटियां सेकते थे और सीधा थाली पे आ जाता था. बना के हॉट केस में कभी रखते नहीं थे. और हर दिन सब्जी वाला हमारे घर के सामने गुजरता था और मतलब हर कोई सब घर में बाहर आके तभी फ्रेश वेजिटेबल्स खरीदते थे. जिस दिन के लिए चाहिए बस उतना, बाद में फ्रिज. Isn't it?
Yes, भैया.
हर घर पे हम पुराने बात मतलब पुराने जमाने की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, हमारे खुद की।
यस भैया।
मैं 50 का हो गया हूं, मैं 30-40 साल पहले की बात कर रहा हूं, मेरे बचपन की बात कर रहा हूं। घर
यस
पे
भैया।
हर दिन फ्रेश वेजिटेबल्स आते थे, और तब बारिश में हम बहुत अच्छी तरह से भीगते थे।
Yes, bhai. We used to play Barish. First
हाँ,
Barish, especially like used to be out only the whole day. But bhai, many I've seen many families coming back to steel bartan plus iron
absolutely.
cooking vessels. Many
Everybody
people are
is,
shifting back.
because they understand where we have gone. वो कागज की कश्ती, बारिश का पानी, वो सब हम देखे हैं, लेकिन today it is all gone. We did not know, what was microwave, what is even an oven, we didn't know.
Yes, bhai.
भैया जीत तो सारे मिट्टी के बर्तन लाए हैं अभी,
सही बात है,
अब वो शुरू हो गए हैं।
और इसलिए तो मैं उनके घर पे बहुत खाता हूँ। So anybody has any other question, or I can address one last topic, which is Neha mentioned about fasting. That is not relevant, but yes.
Can I ask something, please, Baya? And this is Mary here.
Yeah.
Hi. Just over the years, I've heard a lot of people making the argument that the Ayurvedic, the food and the diet and the habits that you have spoken about, that they suit the Indian kind of climate, but not necessarily kind of, Western countries where the temperature is colder. And the argument is that is why they need, meat and heavier food than is prescribed. Would you have anything to say on that?
Nobody is talking about meat or vegetarian food.
No, but even heavy food, like we eat in the West, there's a lot of heavy food eaten. So is it simply just about eating pure food?
Yeah, true. Heavy food, meat and everything you can consume, but half of your food has to be that, and 25% of your food has to be fluids, liquid, and rest you have to keep it empty. It's not everywhere. Meriji, even in the West, these all these new inventions, all these inventions like the microwave and other things, maybe in India, if it is 40-50 years old or 20-25 years old, there it might be 45-50 years old. That's about it. There also, all over the world, the entire mankind lived very happily. But this,
on the sattvic diet.
Yes.
Thank you. It's just something that I've heard people argue over the years, and I just wonder if there anything behind it.
Yeah, Arabian Peninsula, people have this misconception that there is no water at all there. Will they have bath? Yes, they do. They all the settlements used to be near the oasis. The settlements are near the, wherever the water sources were. That's why Arabian Peninsula was never densely populated.
Okay, thank you.
Not at all. Right? It's not about meat or veg. Even the meat, don't eat something which is stale or refrigerated, is what it says. Fresh. Let's face it, the Homo sapiens are originally carnivorous.
Okay.
Then they became herbivorous. Before that, they were omnivorous. That's the truth, whether we like it or we don't like it. Whether we accept or not, no matter anybody, argues to any extent. The Homo sapiens were carnivorous. Everybody were non-vegetarians only. Then they became omnivorous. They started cultivating, they started cooking, they started getting the vegetables and everything. So they became omnivorous, then herbivorous. Few.
Okay. Thank you.
Not at all. So all done. Any other questions about this topic? Did you all feel time wasted today. This was such simple subjects. Please be very open.
These are good reminders, Bhaiya, I feel.
All of you?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Much needed, though many of the things were already what we had heard of, but they are excellent reminders that it's now time, high time rather, to take the right way and lead a healthier life. Thank you so much for
This
these
is nothing
reminders.
to do with spirituality. I
Yeah.
agree. But your body is a temple of your soul.
Absolutely.
To take care of the body.
Absolutely.
The subject is very light, and most of it, we were aware of it. Knowledge to realization, knowing to realizing. That was the journey. But it was a must. We must know, because we are trying to balance between the worldly existence and the spiritual progression. Now, coming to the question which Neha posed about fasting. Should I answer that, or do you have any other questions? Right. See, fasting, shall we take it as a separate subject? Shall we close this recording? I think,
Yeah, sure.